let's get started. Um, so welcome. Yeah, New Zealand's amazing. Like, uh, for a while, my family would only go to Japan. I mean, I think for a while everyone just went to Japan, but after we went to New Zealand, how many months ago? Like a couple months ago, we were like, okay, we're chilling in New Zealand now. That's gonna be our turf. But anyways, hey, Doctor Stefan, Marianne XD, and I'm sorry to the guy with the tie. Your name's a little well, it's truncated on my end, but welcome to the show. I'm Langstrom, and before we start any of like the scalping and maybe setup or analysis or just conversation, I always like to start with some fundamental analysis. So here's the fear and greed index. Right now we're at 14. I think we were at 14 yesterday, or was it 16? Oh no, we were in the line of 20. So we dropped again, which is interesting because we got a pump just a few hours ago, I believe. And I'm guessing there was like a dump. For context, I was studying, so couldn't tell. But looks like we're back in the sub 20s, which is interesting, right? We look at the liquidation maps or the liquidation levels, and we can see that now we're back to one, and we even have more long liquidations than shorts on the 1 day. On the 7 day, it's also one to one. And yesterday we saw that when we dropped, right, we dropped, longs were killed, and then we went up from there. And so this tells me again that we'll have volatility today. And by the looks of it, from what I was able to glance at earlier, we did start going up a little bit, right? So my guess is because you have such a big cluster of shorts here, we kind of do want to get a little bit more topside before we might want to go back down. Yeah, yeah, that's the liquidation heat map. Yeah. So I do think that, I mean, it was my thesis that we go up eventually, right? But I'm not discounting the idea that we get some moves or some very volatile moves to the downside that aren't sustainable just to kill these guys who are chilling at around 85k. We look at the 30 day, and again, the bias is still to the upside. You have lots of liquidations at around 90,000. Your point of control in terms of volume is at 112,000. So obviously, price action will want to revisit those levels and decide from there. But until we get there, it's nice to know that um, we're still our bias is still to the upside, but we can't discount the fact that we will get volatile moves to the downside. So looking at the RSI heat map 12 hour, well, I think it's a little stronger compared to yesterday. I think we were closer to weak, and we can see that TIA is still down here and oversold. TAC is something that we can look at as it's overbought. And obviously, we have our Chart Prime Oscillator Pro Plus, but it's always nice to just look at the overall RSI of the market right now. So BTC, BNB, Ethereum, Solana, XRP, they're all kind of chilling around neutral to weak. So based on this, I'd probably want to look at TAC and TIA in our live today, right? Now, I'll go to the 3 day just to see where we're at, and you can see on the 3 day we basically have equal leverage or liquidations of both to the top and downside. You have a lot resting at 85, and then another pocket around 89. So it doesn't surprise me if we actually, let me shorten this so we can have a better look of where we might be going if we go here and here at the same time. Now, based on the level here, I can barely see that. Oh no, really? Yeah, might be time to invest in a bigger monitor. All right, how many? So this is four. This is about 20. Oh no, 484 million longs to be liquidated, and over here about 520 million shorts. So there are more liquidations to the top side, but we can't ignore this pocket of liquidity at 85k, which is something we could revisit in a while. So with that, I guess that's enough FA for us, and let's get to the exciting part, which is our TA. Hey TechWatch, nice seeing you again. But yeah, so let's look at BTC first. Actually, no. Let's look at Solana because our, the the long that we called yesterday actually went to full TP. It had a risk to reward of 3 and had basically zero drawdown. So, yeah, we could look at Tau. I'll just like go through all three and then we can have a look at Tau and maybe discuss order blocks as I promised Jay Brignac yesterday. But yeah, it looks like had I updated my FVG and market dynamics yesterday, we might have gotten a better entry, right? Because I mean, look at that. Still really sucks. I'm still really annoyed that this happened, but it is what it is. But yeah, so going to BTC on the 5 minutes. So we have a hidden bearish div on the 5 minutes right now with a downward reversal and a trend shift. We also have some significant money outflow, but your bullish volume is going up, right? And your ribbon has twisted. Now, based on the VRVP, which is essentially just how much volume is being traded at the price, we can see that we are in a high volume node, but we have another one at around 86,000, which actually sort of aligns with the FA from earlier that we want to go down to maybe 85. On the 1 hour, it's not really conclusive what we want to do yet because, well, we're in between the reactors. This is the quantum reactor, which basically verifies if something is actually dumping or pumping, right? It's gray right now. It's not really giving us enough info. And we're below the dynamic reactor, which is bearish. So it looks like we might play in between the reactors for a while. We did get a trend shift, which is bullish, but I guess for now, let's leave BTC alone and go through Ethereum, right? Um, Ethereum's actually in a much clearer deal because we are above the quantum reactor. We're also above the dynamic reactor. We also have a hidden bullish divergence here on the 1 hour. So that gives me a little bit more confidence that we're going up with Ethereum. That's not a guarantee, but it is confidence in confluence, right? So we do have a node up here at around 2,963, and I was essentially drawing this triangle that I saw. And if we and this line here is sort of a measured move from down here to here, and you can basically just drag that up there and place it here, and you can see that it will put us at equilibrium. So I am bullish on Ethereum, and I do have a long on Ethereum right now, but that was posted quite a while ago, so I can't take credit for that in this stream. For Solana, at least in the 5 minutes, there's a downward reversal triangle and a trend shift to the downside, right? But it's sort of in the same pool as Ethereum where we're bullish because of the reactors. We did get rejected off the 618, which kind of sucks, but we do have another high volume node at around 139 and an FVG at a 138. So it wouldn't surprise me if we continue to push to the upside. All right, now I think oopsie. I think Desmond requested Tau, and I guess we can also talk about order blocks as we look at Tau. So let's pull up Tau, and that is the one signal that failed so far this month among a couple other signals. All right, let me just remove these so for better clarity. What is this? Oh, it's a buy zone. Okay. All right. So 30 minutes, 4 hours. So trying to look for order blocks. Okay. All right. Let's kill two birds with one stone here. So at least for Tau, your 30 minutes is near your bottom extremity. So that looks like it might want to reverse. But note that your 4 hour has a downward reversal triangle as well as some money outflow, and the ribbon has shifted, right? So it's possible you could get a push to the upside from your 30 minutes, but I would expect us to go back down to at least 281 on Tau because of that reversal triangle. And this is sort of the same trick that we did yesterday to determine our take profit on Solana for the scalp. But it's still bearish on the 4 hour. So I wouldn't go doing any longs on Tau. And speaking of not doing any longs on Tau, if we go up to 500, we see this order block. Now, what makes order blocks interesting, or why they're points that we have to consider when trading, is because order blocks are essentially footprints of institutions and banks. So, you know how there's basically, I don't know if it applies to you guys or where you're from, but at least where I'm from and traditional banking, uh, or TradFi banking, you can't withdraw a certain amount all at once. So if it exceeds the limit per day, you can't withdraw all at once. They get suspicious and whatnot. So it's the same with trading. When banks have orders, they can't just put a lump sum order right away, because it would then just it would manipulate the prices too far, right? So what they'll do is they'll chop up their orders into multiple blocks, and they'll place them strategically throughout the security or the asset that they're trading on. And we're able to detect sort of the shift in buying pressure and selling pressure, and able to plot it here on the charts. So when you have a bearish order block right here, that means that some big institution with a lot of capital essentially sold here. They placed their money here, right? And you can see on the VRVP, right on the order block, and I'm not making this up. Uh, you guys saw it change in real time. That used to be a high volume node, right? This is constantly shifting and telling you the best places in which there's a lot of volume, right? And there was a high volume node at this point. So when we get to an order block, expect reactions, because we tend to want to copy what banks do, even myself with my strategy. And so the the more imbalanced an order block is to the direction that you want to take, the better, and the more likely it is to hold. So I hope that answers Desmond and Jay Bricknack's inquiry. Let me look at the chat. Hey TechWatch, yeah, it looks like we have. Sorry, your name's truncated, but your username starts with R, and you have the really cool profile picture. Thank you for dropping by. I'm Langestrom, and yeah, if you have any questions, just let me know. I'm an open book, and I'm really excited to help you guys. So, with that said, let's go back to Bitcoin, and we can see it's pumping right now. So, if we had to guess where this pump might go, right, because it's basically invalidating this trend shift and downward reversal here on the CPO plus, right? If I had to guess, it would either be at 87 or 88.6, where the high volume nodes are. And you can see how having multi-time frame analysis is really useful, because when you have a higher time frame, it informs your lower time frame. Again, on Tau, my idea that it will continue to go down still stands, right? It's not reacting as crazily. But then again, we are looking at sort of higher time frames. This is the 30 minutes. But it could very much reject off the 618 at 310. So for Desmond, I'd send an alert at 310 and maybe 308, see how it reacts. And then if it rejects, right, then you complete a head and shoulders, you fall down, and then I'd set an alert for 293 and 282, and then see what happens from there. If it bounces off 293 or 281, then you can probably take a long, because I do think that this market is headed up generally. Yeah. How do I feel about my BNB long? I feel pretty good about it. So with some of these trades, right, at least with the swing ones, I kind of just let them do their thing. So what's great about my strategy is, even if the market's manipulated, even if it's sort of going against me, I can basically outlive the market. And that's all just about risk management and really finding your stride. So right now, it's not going. You can see that I had like 20 hours of just downward price movement, and if you were over leveraged or you had too much margin, this would have killed you. You'd just be shaking in your boots. But I've been here for, I don't know if I should be proud, but I have been here for over 2 days now, and I'm alive and in profits, not to mention. And you can see that I haven't moved my stop loss to break even yet because it hasn't reached my target of 880. Had I done that, I would have been taken out and I wouldn't make any money. But right now, I believe I should be up about, what's this? I should be up about 70% right now. Um, so I still feel pretty confident about my BNB long. Um, because granted, this hasn't been invalidated yet, and you can see how we do still have high volume nodes going up to 877, and in fact we also have an FVG at around 1000. So I think I'm going to keep this open for now, and the moment we reach 880, that's when I'll have, or that's when I'll take a little bit of profit, maybe 15-20% of the total ROI, and then stop loss break even, protect my downside, feed myself for the next week or so. So yeah. Do I always look for R? Oh, so I look at 4R 30 minutes generally for swinging, but for the context of the show, I typically do like 5 minutes 1 hour. Yeah. Like for this one, I did 5 minutes 1 hour yesterday, and you can see it turned out pretty well. Like zero drawdown. But for swinging, I do 30 minutes 4 hours. Uh, 5 minutes 1 hour is pretty good. If you want a little bit less, if you want a little bit less noise, you can maybe do 15 minutes to 1 hour, or like 15 minutes to 2 hours. I don't know a lot of people who do 2 hours, but you could do like 15 1 hour if you want a little less noise. But I like five just so there's a little bit more volatility. So just play around with what feels more comfortable for you. Yeah. I see. Okay, I really don't know why it's truncated, but um, thank you for coming in and joining the show. Uh, if you have any questions, just let me know. Open book. But right now, we are waiting for US Open at around 12 minutes. So, what did I say I wanted to look at earlier? Oh, Tia, yes. So, my alert for Tia did ping earlier. Oops, that's not the one I wanted. Because I placed an alert for zero point 0.6 last night. So, you can see that. Oh, that sucks. I swear, because, man, I was saying that here at zero point 0.6 I had an alert, it pinged, and now hidden bullish div, and it's headed up. But given that there's a target all the way down to 0. Where is this? Damn, that's scary. That's scary. Excuse me. I kind of don't want to play with Tia right now if it's saying it's got a measured move down to 0.55. Obviously, it could be invalidated, but kind of don't want to play with that if that's the case. That said, there is a relatively high volume node, or a local high volume node at 0.62, and another one at 0.65. So, more likely than not, we could probably see a bounce from here. Now, what I'm going to wait for on Tia, and we're going to look at this throughout the stream, is can it convince us in making a double bottom? Because if it can, that would be perfect. We know that it's probably going to at least 0.62 and maybe 0.65 if it has enough strength. So that's something to look at. So just as an idea, remember, not official endorsement yet, just an idea, I'd probably do something like this, right? And then place it here, giving us a nice 1 to 2. Actually, we can do like exactly 1 to 2 risk to reward, and then lower this down to the most traded price, which I think is 0.60. So just an idea. I'm not doing this trade just yet. I need a little bit more confluence on the chart, but so far, this is what I'm thinking T is gonna do within the next hour. or two. So let's go back to Bitcoin. So I mean, it is showing quite a bit of strength, and if you guys trade patterns, right? I mean, you could look at that. Wait a minute, this is a wick. Mm, let's see here. Yeah, part of trading is really just the exploring, seeing if things fit. It's not a great fit. Yeah, it's not a great fit. No, I don't think that's a good fit. It's not a channel. Oh, I need to do that. Let's see here. I mean, it could. No. No, it doesn't. It doesn't work. Yeah, it's not really giving us anything, is it? But no, it's really not giving us anything. All right. So I guess what I'm waiting for right now on all of these coins is if Bitcoin can show us that the dynamic reactor is really gonna push up, then maybe we can take a long, so or a scalp long. So something like maybe here to the next high volume node, which is over here. Stop loss. You can even tighten it up a little bit. Or I'd place it below the 618 if you want to. Could be an idea we could play with. Right. Again, not an official endorsement, just an idea based on what I'm seeing. But it could be a fun idea. But yeah, generally I do see the market going up today. Yeah. How about you guys though? Do you have your sentiments changed or Tao's 308? Yeah, let's go back to Tao. Tao. Oh, that is not dot. Okay. All right. So we're at 308. Interesting. Oh, the VRVP is a trading view indicator. So it's like if you have the premium plan with trading view, it you get access to it. So I know Chart Prime has something similar. It's one of the newer indicators. But the reason I like, or sort of the strength of the Chart Prime one is it takes the a candle from a higher time frame and then plots it into your chart. But I kind of just like the free volume because I like having just the raw data and not having it processed. But I feel like if you're, well, it's not really if you need like a hand, but it's more of if you like the visual element as well as the ease, you can use the Chart Prime one. I'm just sort of used to the VRVP, and again, it's just a trading view. It comes with trading view itself, so yeah. Oh yeah. Actually, I've never tried the one that comes with market dynamics. Let me not imbalance volume. Let me put it up volume profile. Although I think I don't know. It didn't work for me before. Did that do anything? Oh, there it is. Ah, that's fun. Nice. Oh, that's so cool. The more we learn. Money levels. Oh, let's remove the background. Let me remove the VRVP. Yeah, no, this is tidy. Lots of letters though. Huh, maybe it's because I never zoomed out. Interesting. Okay, no, I gotta keep zoomed out. But yeah, I will study this and see if I like it more. But for now, I will turn my VRVP back on. And we do have a lot. The scary thing with Tau, I feel, is it has a lot more nodes to the downside. And if I pull up, and even I think earlier it was showing that the biggest sort of traded price, or the one with the most volume on the 30 minutes, was all the way to the downside of Tau. Right. I mean, same with BTC right now. It's sort of updating and shifting. But yeah. 4 minutes till market open, so we'll get a little bit more. We'll get a better idea of what we want to do for the stream in 4 minutes. Okay, let's go back to Bitcoin. Again, not very exciting. Actually, what is? It's 240. Big chunks to the downside. Back here to. Do I have chunks to the upside? I mean, I do. 87, one at 88. So let me just mark these. Yeah, we're directly on one. So, in theory, right, you can treat these as FVGs and you want to go up to fill those, but alternatively, right, you could also do something like this. But given that this node is of higher volume to this, it's a higher quality node. So we're more likely to maybe want to push up, but we'd face quite a bit of resistance at around 87.5. Okay. Alright. Alright. 2 more minutes. Well, 1 minute 30 according to TradingView before we get market open. Oh, didn't mean to do that. Tau. So PNB's doing okay. Solana's doing okay. Thank you, Dagaditi. Always very helpful. Grab a sip of my coffee. Right, 40 seconds. This is kind of scaring me though in the 5 minutes. So let's just see how this closes. If we get a pretty decent close, that might be a sign to go long. Or, I mean, if it closes weak, then we could possibly go down. But, I mean, we'll have to see. That's our market open. Immediate red candle. All right, take care, Daga. Really appreciate you dropping by. Okay. Hey Ma, welcome to the show. Right now, well, this is a very exciting market open. Not a lot of, not really convincing anyone right now. But mm, is there any moves on other coins? Okay, it's moving to the upside. Now, let's see how it reacts to the FVG, if it can even get there, to 87. Because while this does look like, yeah, yeah, yeah. If it closes like this, that's a pretty bearish close. Alright, see you, Desmond. Oh, are you talking to Daga? Alright, there you go. That's what I was expecting, yeah. So remember, the moment market opens, it doesn't mean to go in the direction that the market initially goes. You gotta kind of wait a little bit. Really let them show you their hand, because we don't want to just ape in, because some people are watching these charts and just aping in the moment they see long, and now they've been wrecked. Right? This is a very tiny movement in price, but there are people giga 500 xing or 1,000 xing this move to the upside, and now this is gone. Right? If they 500 x leverage that move, nah, I don't know. They're probably dead. Is the FVG one? Yep. So this is the updated FVG on market dynamics. I do 4. My imbalance is highest volume. I like highest volume because it's a higher probability entry for me. I do raise my threshold to 0.5 because I found that if it's just a default, it kind of gives some weak FVGs, or like FVGs that aren't really that great, and then I minimize my extension to 1. So yeah, yeah. So candles giving us indecision. It's best to wait it out a little bit. Based on at least the lower time frame, I'm expecting us to maybe go down, because our VRVP, or the most volume for the price, is down here at around 86. But yeah, we go here. Where's the? Yeah, there you go. See how it reacts to the FVG here, or even just the dynamic reactor. Okay, tap the FVG. Okay, completely engulf the FVG. Back down to the POC, retest the change of character. Mm. Alright, let's wait for close. not very confidence inducing. Man, it's really just playing with us. Volume node has moved here. Highest traded price was over here. Same here, it was higher up on the candle. Now, at least with my strategy, this area right here where the dynamic reactor and the quantum reactor, where when they sort of do this and they're tight like this, is a great area to maybe take along, because it's possible that this goes above the reactor, right? And then this is your bullish cross. But sort of the one thing I'm looking for when this cross happens, or when I'm able to witness the cross, is can we get above the quantum reactor, and then can we close at least 2 candles above it, because then that would give me the idea of like enough momentum being there to push us up to the upside. So right now this candle's giving, well, it's quite strong, but can it close above the quantum reactor, which I've unfortunately completely blocked from our view? And can it do it a second time for us to maybe consider putting our long there, right? If we can't and we stay in limbo, then it's a no trade. We gotta wait. So a lot with scalping is really just waiting, being patient, and then having conditions and strategies for yourself. But yeah, let me check who's in the stream. It looks like we still got the same cast, so thank you for sticking with me so far. And if there are any people new to Chart Prime, or need to maybe, or want to get some maybe insights on any of the suite of indicators, just let me know. I could probably help you out with that. Need some water. Okay. Oof. Still kind of skeptical of this move, actually, because yeah, we did leave like a very tiny wick, right? But most of your highest traded price is to the upside, so a bit sketchy. If you really want like a big move, or to confirm like a bullish move, you want price to be closer to the downside, just like this, just like this, just like this maybe, or maybe even this. But having it up here, kind of sketchy. Let's look at Ethereum, so that we're not just staring at BTC. And so far, Ethereum has been respecting the trend line that I drew quite a while ago. So for me, I would take, I mean, I'm already in a long for Ethereum at around 2870, so I could probably scalp it again, right? Oh, didn't mean to make that. Alright, Solana could be interesting. If the 1R can push all the way down and go oversold, or maybe show a reversal triangle or a diamond shift, I'd be all up on Solana and take a long. But yeah, out of the three, again, for those who weren't in the stream yesterday, I did say I found Solana to be sort of the strongest between Bitcoin and Ethereum, Solana right now, because the ETFs, not a lot of outflows compared to the other two. So for me, Solana is the stronger of the big three, but time is yet to tell us if that's relevant for our scalp right now. But Ethereum looks good. You got your hidden bullish div, you've got positive money inflow, right? Granted, you are below your fluid zero line here, but if you can get above it on this close for the 1 hour, then that would be great. All right, so first close above the quantum reactor. Can we do it a second time? And can we be strong about it? If we are, we can take a long for Bitcoin all the way up to around 88,576, I would say. That was where our, yeah, right there. That's where our VRVP is showing us the next high volume node. If not, then, well, we're just gonna have to wait. How do I get that zero line? The one on the MVP ribbon, like this oscillator right here, Desmond. This one. All right. So, uh, in case you aren't fully able to catch how I do it, so I'm gonna delete it first. I do have a recording pinned to my signals chat in case you want to have a look at that in for later. But essentially what you do is you go to your Prime Oscillators Pro or Pro Plus, make sure you're on your MVP oscillator, then you click these three buttons, you add indicator / strategy, and then I know for some it didn't appear, but for me I have it. I think it's because of my plan with TradingView. But if you don't have it, then you can look just for like SMA or like 5. I believe the indicator is like 5 MA something, or 5 MAs in one indicator. Like, just any of these will work. So essentially, the only requirement you need is to have something where you can adjust the length of the moving average itself. So you want to turn off all the superfluous ones. You only need one. Alternate white for this case. Then you want to change. So this refers to the length of the moving average. You want to go with like 144. So you might be asking why 144. That's what Digital LRS recommended, and I found that because it's 144, you get sort of a more stable fluid zero line. It's not too crazy, and so it becomes more meaningful when you interpret it later. Then you want to increase the thickness a bit. So I do the second one, and I turn these off so it's cleanlier. And then here's the important part. So you go to the source, and you want to go all the way down to the second to the last one. So click this one, and that will plot it right here once it loads. So yeah, so what's great is just the modularity in chart prime indicators, right? Because even with the Oscillator Pro Plus, I was able to change the tops and the bottoms, as well as, well, I'm not using the VWAP overbought oversold, but oh wait, this is not. Let me change this back to the 1 hour that I set. 1 hour. There we go. There. So you can change the symbols, you can change the color, you can change even the tops so that you can see the signals a lot better, and just really personalize your toolkit to fit you. But yeah, I hope that helped. All right. Well, we didn't get we're not getting a strong close above, and you can see by having that condition set for us, we can basically avoid just aping into a trade and just losing, right? Because aping in here would suck, and we're basically back to where we started. If you took a long here, you're in drawdown. If you took a long here, over here, you weren't entirely sure. And so with the 1 hour showing some money outflow, maybe volume transitioning, we are below the fluid zero line, but we did get a trend shift starting with this candle. What I'm looking for on the 1 hour, now that we only have 15 minutes to close, I want a stronger close above the POC, or the point of control of the money flow, right? I want a stronger close above this node, and then I think we'll get a retest, and then we can maybe consider taking a long there to capitalize on the ribbon twist. So right now we're not really getting that at the moment. And you can see how our quantum reactor on the 5 minutes coincidentally, although because of the accuracy, I don't know if I should call it coincidence, but is right on the money flow POC of the 1 hour. So everything's sort of making sense in the sense that you're seeing multiple different confluences and intersections between the time frames and the story it wants to tell you. So I'm gonna wait for the 1 hour to close and maybe we can decide from there. So looking at Ethereum, that's a pretty nasty rejection from the quantum reactor. Pretty nasty here on the 5 minutes for Solana. Even if we do have some money inflow, really painful right now. Yeah, we'll go back and yeah, of course. All right, let's get. But yeah, kind of a boring start to the day. Not like yesterday. Yesterday wasn't boring, but it was infuriating because my order did not get picked up. Like, really, really was the one that got away. But okay. I guess while waiting, right, might be of value to maybe look at the higher time frames, just to get a sense of where we could go from here. So here in the 4R for BTC, our next high volume node actually coincides with an FVG if it loads again. So at least when we started it, it was over here from what I recall. So if we zoom out, maybe it's going to calculate it again. So I do see, there we go. So I do see 91,321 being our next stop, right? This is bearish FVG. I do see this as our next stop. And generally, another thing, or something that's now standing out to me is that we do have a shift in the ribbon here, but we do have bullish volume, and in terms of momentum, we are still bullish. So two scenarios can play out from this point where we just ugly V-shaped recovery back here and then push down, or from here, because we are also on a high volume node, we go back down to this high volume node, which is at around 84,000. But given your fundamental analysis, I'm more inclined to say that we should be going up. All right, let me just remove these lines because they're kind of ugly. Okay, let's look at the 30 minutes. So 30 minutes has your dynamic reactor above your quantum reactor, which is good. Ribbon twist as well. And if I zoom out, maybe we can get an idea of where the volume is resting here on the 30 minutes. Yeah. Alright, so it's also right there where we placed our take profit earlier. But okay, let's go back to 5 minutes, 1 hour. Alright, this looks less sketchy to me now, because your most traded price is down here. You also have a high volume node at around this area. So if we can get a close here, I'll probably put a long entry at around 87, move this, and then put my stop loss below the triangle that formed earlier. Okay, yeah, that's strong. Looks pretty good. Okay. So pretty good close. Now, I do think that we do end up retesting. So I would place. Shoot, let's go back here. See what we are looking at. Okay, hold on. We need to see what it does here. Okay, it didn't even touch it. Didn't like it. Most traded price is gone. I'm not sure. I think something is sketchy about this. All right. I don't think we're gonna take a long here actually. Something's really sketchy about this price action. Like earlier it was looking nice because I saw the most traded price, but then it's looking really sketchy. This might engulf the last candle entirely. In that case, that would be a fairly bearish close on the 1 hour. Very messy price action today. Hey 944. Hey Smith. Welcome to the show. Okay. How are okay. Same thing with these guys. And Solana actually touched an FVG right here. Oh, you're very welcome. Yeah, were you able to sort of start analyzing your prime oscillator? Warning, warning, little fish. Okay. Yeah, it's great. No rush. There'll be lots of time to learn. But right now, just to catch you guys up on speed, right? I was thinking of maybe taking a long on BTC and maybe Tau, but right now it's looking dubious. Because earlier this looked convincing because we had the most traded price, then it just disappeared, and then this started transitioning, and I said, okay, maybe not, right? Yeah, they're not really giving us any. They're not really showing us anything right now because we started here earlier, well, 2210, so what, 1010? We started the show over here, we got this move, and we're basically back to where we started with the show, right? We're even a little bit down. If we zoom out, this is just chop. It's just pure noise. Now, theoretically, this could be. I mean, it could be a symmetrical triangle, No, it's not really a symmetrical triangle, is it? Right. If we break to the downside at this point at 86, then I think I'd be prepared to maybe take a scalp short to, where was it earlier? To maybe 84. So let me mark that. 84.5. Right. And that would be, well, currently that would be a drop of about 3%. But until it breaks to one side, I'm being a little bit cautious. Let me fix this up a little bit. There you go. Yep. Well, we didn't get our condition of two candles above the quantum reactor, so that's rough. But these guys are getting closer. So if they do cross, then that would be great. But alternatively, I mean, it could literally cross like this with price under, and now we've got a really bearish outcome, right? Okay. Let me just look at who's in the stream. Oh, hey Hamid, welcome to the show. Okay, let's look at Ethereum. So Ethereum got the confirmed uh, rejection. At least that's what I think the diamonds are. I'm also still learning the new market dynamics, or sorry, the market oracle update, because they added symbols, and I'm not entirely sure if this is rejection or retest. Because there's another one, I think, a triangle. Is this rejection or retest? I'm not entirely sure. All I know is if I see something like that, I pay attention. Okay. Yeah, no, I think we should take a short. But 1 minute 56 before the hourly close. If we break below the triangle right here, there will be a retest of the break to the downside, and we'll be able to see whether or not we should take a short. Yeah, actually Tau actually looks kind of bearish. This kind of looks like a tiny head and shoulders on the 30 minutes. And at least on the 4R, there's really nothing keeping Tau from going down. So actually, it might be an idea to short Tau. So if I had to short Tau, I could do maybe like the 618 or the most traded price, which is over here. Short it down to maybe 283. Yeah, 283, something like this. And above the point of resistance, giving you about 1 to 2 risk to reward. We can read this a little bit more, right? But if the 30 minutes bounces, then we're gonna have to wait. And yeah, let me put that away. See what's up. We got a reversal triangle. Let's get BTC again. Broke through. Touch the FEG at the highest volume. Okay, this looks pretty bearish. 3, 2, 1. Bullish div? Really? Okay. hidden bullish div played out. Solana. Man, confusing market. Actually, let's look at this on the 5 minutes 1 hour. Okay, so entry price is a high volume node. But we can see previously over here, you got a money flow divergence. You made a top, you made like a small top. So it's possible you go back up here, but you do have a bullish cross now on Tau. So is BTC also pumping? Man, really confusing. Okay. We can what do we have here? I mean, that looks like a V-shaped recovery, but if we're going to the downside, then yeah. Alright, take care, Smith. No worries. Wish there was a bigger picture for what we could do with 12 hour. Okay, no, the 12 hour. $12 does look kind of bearish, but you okay? You touched a node here. Okay, no, I think we can short Tau. Yeah, we can. Ooh, but the nodes are also up there. I think I'll low lev short Tau, which is contrary to my strategy. Just because I see the potential to go here, back to like down to 282.8, right, and completing what I think looks like a head and shoulders here on the 1 hour, a really weird head and shoulders. And if we flip or invert the chart, I mean, this would look or you would consider this bullish as a V-shaped recovery, right, even on the POC. So the fact that it looks like this, it kind of tells me that maybe we want to short it. On the 12 hour, you also got a lot of selling pressure in the last 12-hour candle. You still have significant money outflow, and mind you, you haven't even broken above the fluid zero line yet. Now, long term, I do think Tau will go up, but I guess for now, I would probably short Tau. So yeah, I think this will hold. So my entry, let me grab my phone to calculate my leverage. Yeah, so I'm gonna short Tau at 306. Should come back because it was the most traded price, unless it doesn't, but I do think it'll come back because you are starting to go oversold on the 5 minutes. So I think it'll come back. You can enter, I guess, market price, but just note that you do have slippage and upward reversal triangle. So you could also enter here at the order block if you want to. Just set the order there. But I will set my order for 306.46. Calculate my leverage as well. 6. And then my stop loss will be 316.5. 70x. Crazy. Okay. Alright. So let me put in my short order for Tau. Limit order. Can I even go to? Guess not. So 306. Plus, and my take profit's gonna be at 283. All right. Okay, so I've placed my order to short Tau at 306. Let's just see if we can get the order picked up. Now, if it does something like yesterday where it manages to get to the order on chart but then doesn't fill, I'm gonna cancel, just like yesterday. Yesterday was really it was a sad day for me. Yeah. If not, you could theoretically enter like here market price, but I would place it here still because you do have your upward reversal triangle on the 5 minutes, so Tau is still likely to push back up. So notice how, at least in terms of our SL, we are above a bearish order block here on the 5 minutes, and it's very, very bearish. 81% of the orders here, and then we also have resistance here on the 1 hour and the 618 as well on the 1 hour. So I do see this as a good place to maybe take a short. Now, if I go to the 12 hour, which is kind of what sealed the deal for me, relatively speaking, because you have such a long wick, we are technically going up, right? We are going up on the 12 hour, but this is sort of acting as some small resistance here on the fluid zero line, and we are above the 618. Or, all right, my Tau order just got picked up. Okay. So I guess on my exchange it just picked it up. So yeah. Do you live scalp every day? No. So I do these live sessions every Tuesday, Wednesday, starting 9 a.m. EST. So the next time you'll see me is next week. Today's gonna be a short show but it's not gonna be too short. I'm gonna end in 35 minutes today because I just have a couple things I gotta do. But there is going to be a show right after that'll be with OC and Alex. So yeah, now I'm in profits on my Tau short. So let's go back to the 5 minutes and see what's going on. So let me just, yep, there, because we got in. Now it's possible I go into drawdown because of this reversal triangle, but I'm fully expecting, at least on the 1 hour, that we push back down to the downside. But yeah, nice. So at least for my case, my exchange doesn't let me go 70x lev, so I had to compensate with a little bit more margin. Um, but right now I am up a whopping 5%, and it's dumping. Now, of course, with my setups, it won't always be 100% win. I think for these live trading sessions, because this is new, relatively speaking, out of how many have I done? Actually, I think I have a log. Hold on, let me just check real quick. No, hold on. So, oh, oh no, I forgot to label these whether or not they were from the scalps. Okay, no, I can 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5. Okay, so far out of 9, I've lost 2. So that's about it's close to 80% basically. So I do have so far about an 80%, close about 80% win rate with these trades that I call in live. Yeah, I do 1% of my wallet. So um, at least on the exchange that I had it on, I had about uh, how much money do I have on this exchange that I'm doing it on? About 10,000 on the exchange I have it on, so my margin is 100. But if I did it on sort of my main exchange, then I'd probably use a little more. Yeah. But so far, my short is paying off. It is in profits. And again, it's a pretty nice hedge as well because I think I'm mostly in longs right now, and they're also in profits. But yeah, so I guess for this point, right? Okay, let me pull up a fib, and let me go for a local, maybe something like. Okay, nice. Okay, for my entry, my first take profit and SL to BE is going to be at 297. So at 297.94, I'm going to take profits and well take a little bit of profit and then put my stop loss to break even to protect myself from downside risk. But yeah, and I'll let my stop loss run, or if it goes to drawdown, I'll let it run until it hits my stop loss. At least with scalping, I do that, but then with swinging, if I see there's potential, like the Bitcoin one, I sort of just let it run because my liquidation for Bitcoin I think is like 20 20,000. But yeah, looks like it's not being kind to us anymore. Or it is. It's deciding. Let's look at the 1 day actually. So at least here in the 1 day, what sort of terrifies me with Tau generally is the fact that we never really got a retest of, or we never really filled this wick. So typically, when you get such a strong wick to the downside, and mind you, this is just pure manipulation. I mean, who put their order for Tau at 140, right? But that's besides the point. Uh, when you we never really got a chance to basically fill this wick. Typically, when you have such a long manipulation wick, you fill about I'd say minimum you'd fill about 40% of the wick, and then but typically you fill about 60%. So the fact that we've only really filled, all right, let's pull out the calculator here, or the calculator, the ruler, right? So max is 53. So if we're talking about 40%, then we're looking at 20. So typically, or at minimum, you'd probably want to fill up to maybe 229, right? But you never got to do that. You only really got to 260. Now that could be a testament to maybe the bullishness of Tau, but I'm not convinced necessarily. But what I am convinced is we do get a little bit more downside. And notice how when we did our take profit here, we based it off the high volume node from the lower time frames, which you can see it's also the most traded price on the 1 day. And we also have a bearish cross here on the 1 day relative to my strategy, which is using the reactors. But also notice that here on the 1 day, your high volume node is all the way to 380. So eventually, I do think we get a push to this high volume node to retest, and then which is also your POC. Now, if you reject off it, you probably want to go to 316, and then or you'll go to 316 for a stand here, then maybe there. But if you break above this, you'll go here, right, and then maybe you'll go here next, right, up until you reach your premium. You test that, and then you go discovery. But yeah, so I'm short on Tau right now. I'm long on BNB, which is paying. I'm also long on Ethereum, which is still in profits. Um, so generally pretty decent so far. But yeah, let me see if there's anything in the chat. But yeah, I'm still really sad about the Solana long because it had almost basically zero drawdown. I mean, on the chart it reached 133, didn't get filled, and then went to the take profit that I said, sort of hung out there, and yeah, now it's back down. So still really sad about it. Ooh, rough. Hey, Fisto Roboto, welcome to the show. Okay. Descending. Oh no, I'm gonna. Excuse me. But yeah. Let's go back here on the 1 hour for Tau. Okay, it's refreshing. Come on. Ooh. Could I look at JTO? Sure. Uh After I figure out what's happening with my charts. Well, I guess Tau doesn't want us to look at Tau, so I guess we're looking at JTO first. I really don't know what's happening there. All right, let's look at JTO. Okay, that's yeah. Let me exit this. Yeah, let's just replace the Solana one with JTO, and we can revisit Tau when it decides to come back to its senses. All right, JTO. Okay, so you are in a sell zone here on the 5 minutes. You did get your hidden bullish div that played out pretty well. You got a nice again, I don't know if this is a rejection or retest, but it's bullish. Um, but you are in the sell zone, premium, and an order block, which is heavily bearish. It's basically completely bearish, right? But you do have strong money inflow and a transitioning volume. Now, that said, notice how your VRVP, or the the most traded, or the price with the heaviest amount of volume, is around here. So I do think that you do head down. But here in the 1 hour, you're above your fluid zero line. You technically have bullish momentum, although it's really not impressive. But you are sort of pointed down as well. And if we look at your VRVP, you're hanging out, or you've been hanging out here at the top, right? So it wouldn't surprise me if you'd want to go down to revisit those levels. So you can see that the next node is around here at 0.53, and it coincides with this bullish FVG right over here and your buy zone. So I think you could head down, right, on JTO, based solely on the 1 hour alone, right? But then again, this is not really inspiring confidence. It's saying that there's not really a lot of okay, it's back. But given that the nodes aren't that well formed, it doesn't inspire me as something that I'd want to trade, because that means that there could be a lot of manipulation being played with this coin. Or maybe I'm just not using an exchange with enough. Let's look at Binance and see if anything's different with it. Okay, yeah, there we go. Probably exchange, but I think the idea still holds. Um, you are still in a buy zone, right? Your most traded volume is around here, right? Your node is here, by the buy zone. So if we reject off of this, so I'd set an alert 0.4 5475. You want maybe a push to the downside, something like this, right? Because, and you don't have that significant money inflow unlike earlier. So it is also very important to maybe check your exchanges for differences, right? But based on this, you could short it according to the 1 hour all the way down to 0.5, right? You could short it all the way down here, which is the next high volume node on the 1 hour. Order block question about that bearish order block. So the move should reject and go down. Typically, or by theory, yes, it should. It should reject off of it, in theory, because that means that at this price, there's a lot of an institution or a big order was filled in a way that essentially the price moved down when it got to that point. So it's an area of either accumulation or distribution, whether that's bullish or bearish. So this area was a point in which there was a lot of distribution, and so yeah, you can see here it's playing to the theory, right? But there are instances, of course, where order blocks can fail. Essentially, the current buy or the current sentiment basically invalidated the strength of that order block. So it's not a 100% guarantee. It's just high probability, and that's really all there is to trading, right? Or trading futures. It's all about probability, game theory, and making the best possible move given the information you've got. Yeah. If it was bullish, well, I mean, ideally you don't see a bullish order block above price action, but if, let's say, price action was like coming from here, right? If it was coming down, and there isn't sort of any catalyst or anything you see like money flow or volume giving you any signs, then in theory it should bounce. Yeah. But do note that if you start chilling in an order block and you do this, like you go sideways within an order block, expect the order block to fail. At least that's what I've noticed. When you sort of chop and you don't get an immediate reaction, and you chop there for more than maybe 4 candles, 5 candles, expect it to fail. Yeah, so, right, this is a bearish order block, right? But if we get like chop like this, for like 5 candles, I fully expect it to break above. Yeah, because that means that you didn't get a strong enough reaction from the order block to push down price. But yeah, I hope that also answered your question. I'm really sorry your name's truncated. I don't know if that's like a Discord thing or my monitor. Um, I might have to invest in getting like the dual monitor setups that people have, because I just use my monitor for homework, uh, and then trading is just also on one monitor. So I like just having trading in the background, focus on school, and yeah. But yeah, I'll think about it because it is a big it's a big leap forward because I don't even think my desk can accommodate like 2 monitors, so I might have to buy a stand and then put the second monitor. So yeah, lots to think about. But let's go back to Tau because it was bugging out on us earlier. Of course. So yeah, we did get that push down, right? And from what I'm seeing, this is a descending triangle. And typically, when you have a descending triangle, right, this is normally pretty bearish, um, right? I know descending triangles are bearish. Pretty sure. Where do I find the order block indicator? Oh, it's in your Market Dynamics Pro. So you go to the settings, inputs. It's the first one. Yeah. So if you've got, well, obviously because you're here, you've got Market Dynamics Pro as part of your suite. So another thing is when they first come out, Chart Prime gives you uh, Chart Prime gives you a lot of order blocks. So you can see here that you have soft, high. So by default, this will be all. I have mine at loud, so I don't really care about soft or high. I just need this to know where the strongest order blocks are, which is why my what I said earlier about if it chops and it's usually gonna break above. That's because that order block by Chart Prime's um, algorithm was already filtered to be recognized as a very strong order block. So you can have all as well, but then you'd have to make sure that you toggle show rating so that you can see which order blocks are weaker or which order blocks are superior. But since I know that they're all loud, I don't show my rating. Yeah. All right. Yeah, my pleasure, Mr. Arthur. Thank you, little fish. All right, so guess we're in drawdown with Tau again. That's rough. Push to the upside, push to the upside, push to the upside. Big push to the upside. Will it last? I'm not sure. um, but there is a big order block here, so not entirely sure about that. But yeah, looks like there's only about 15 minutes left before the show ends. So if you guys have any coins you want me to look at or any questions about your chart prime indicators, just let me know. We can explore them together. Hey Larvas, welcome to the show. All right, push. Now it's dropping. ETH is dropping. BNB's pushing. So BNB long's paying pretty well. Symmetrical triangle that does push the upside more often than not. Descending triangle depends how we close on this. Because if we close like this, I think we'll get a projection to the upside, and that might mean we may have to close the Tau trade on a little bit of drawdown. But I don't think so. We'll see. Because I don't think we get above this candle. But yeah. See, let me check chat. Alright. Bitcoin. Bitcoin's also got a bearish order block. 100% of the volume of the 5 minutes are all here. It's also 99% bearish in terms of imbalance. Your 618. I don't know if we break above resistances for tonight. We could. At least I took a very small move here on Tau. Right. I'm also technically below leverage because by my calculator I should be on 70x leverage, but I'm on 50. On the order block, can you get rid of the loud on the block screen? Yeah. You just you turn off show rating. So if you turn it on, it'll show you that it's loud if it loads. Right. So you toggle this, it'll tell you it's loud just like that. But then if you don't want it, just turn off show rating and it'll just look like that. So yeah, lots of ways to customize and really tailor the suite to your needs. But yeah, just toggle off show rating. So I guess the one upside to maybe having multiple order blocks is that you can sort of compare, because I think with OC he showed that there were two order blocks and price action was like bouncing in between those order blocks, right? One was soft, one was loud, and essentially when you've got something like that, the soft one is more likely to break. So that's a strategy you guys could also think about. At least for me, I don't want to have to bother with that, and because of how I trade with all my indicators on the screen ready to go, and I can't be bothered to toggle on and off some of my indicators. I kind of don't want to have loud soft. I just want one and done. So yeah, just tailor it to your needs, and really the suite is so flexible that, for example, on my Chart Prime Oscillator Pro Plus, and for you guys who know, I don't even have my True 7 on, and now they gave us the option to turn off the volume weighted average price overbought oversold, right? I changed the colors of my divergences, I turned these on, I changed the shape of my my stuff, and even if I had the VWAP on, I changed the arrows, I changed the tops, the bottom as well. So these are the strength indicators of the move. So I changed them just so I could see the signals they were providing a little better, while still keeping their functionality. So really, just explore, see what you can customize, play around with it, and you'll have a great time. Although, trust me, it does take a while. I'm pretty sure I spent like 4 hours with the update, just playing around with the settings and figuring out what's new and what I like, what I don't like, and seeing how it can incorporate into my strategy. So yeah, spend time with your suite, guys, and find time to do it, because it might take a while. It will really take a while. So BTC dump. Well, it's not a big dump, but it is something. BNB as well, I suspect, but it's actually kind of holding up pretty well. Okay, no, this is 30 minutes. Yeah, these are the 5 minutes. Oh no, it's holding up pretty well compared to the rest of the guys. Wait, why was my thing like that? Huh, alright, let me save it properly. Hidden bullish divergence right here on the 5 minutes. Technically, it's playing out right now. Oh, wait, is my 15 minutes not automatic? Come on, load. It is automatic. I guess when I saved my 5 minutes earlier, it wasn't. That's okay. FVG right here with the most traded volume right there. Let's look at Tau. Back to profits, really just playing with us right now. But yeah. Alright, still got 10 minutes with you guys, so. I'm dreading studying for my banking exam. But okay. Do you hold any spot bags or just trading? I do hold some spot bags. My spot bags are mostly BTC though. Yeah. So I don't really hold a lot of altcoins. Or actually, I used to hold altcoins, but I I don't know what came over me, but during December when Ondo reached like $2, because I bought Ondo uh when was it, like April? April of last year, I think. I bought like some spot Ondo. It was like 0.7. No, it wasn't 0.7, 0.6 at the time. I don't know what came over me, but when it hit $2, I sold like uh 40% of it. And I thought I was an idiot at the time, but now I'm patting myself on the back because it's basically back to where it was. And after I sold all of my Ondo bag, my entire Ondo bag, I suddenly sort of thought about, okay, maybe I should just hold Bitcoin because I didn't like how quick alts were getting wrecked in February. So when they recovered a little bit more around like uh, October, oh yeah, because I was long. Oh no, 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 I was long in May. Okay, so when they recovered in May, I sold almost 50% of all my alt bags, and then uh, they dropped again. Then when the next long when I had it, I think it was June, July ish. Bitcoin went to like 118. I sold all of it, just held Bitcoin from that point on. Yeah, no, I have a lot of faith in Ondo still, but it's just been terrible in terms of price action. Same with Sui. Yeah. Um, because for me, what I found is that holding or hodling Bitcoin is much better in terms of like security and not really having to think about it. Because institutions, I think if you had to pick which coins to hold, it would just be BTC, Ethereum, or Solana. Because maybe you could consider XRP, but the reason I say is Solana, US coin, and I, I think they're ETFs, whatnot. But also, a lot of institutions want to hold onto those coins specifically. They don't really care about the other alts, right? So, BTC, Ethereum, Solana, you're not really gonna make a lot of money from holding them, but it's much more stable and hedge against inflation. And if you buy low, then great. Don't sell, don't sell your Bitcoin if you're able to buy low. Just keep it. Yeah, don't sell it. You also get oh okay, I can't say that because it's technically financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. To 20, man, if it goes back to $20, that would be insane. I know I'm aping into Solana if it goes to $20. I don't know if it will, uh, because of institutional holding, right? We have to think about the fact that these institutions aren't going to let the top three drop too much. Like they know the asset class is incredibly volatile, but they're not gonna let it drop too much because at some point it's gonna hurt the net worth or their net worth, right? So yeah, back then during like 2021, it could have happened. Like no one gave a shit because no institution was really holding it. Maybe some just to get in the bonus for the weekend, right? But yeah. Yeah, that's true. Although the thing is, I don't know, but if Bitcoin drops to 75, right? Everyone's saying Sailor's exhausted in terms of like how much liquidity he has to invest back in, but I have a feeling the guy recognizes the possibility Bitcoin is going to drop below, and if he is as smart as we think conventionally, he's got some liquidity to buy more and lower his average price. Or Sui could be the next Solana, but look how yeah. I mean, I was also for that narrative that Sui was the next or the Solana killer. I will say though that the coins in which had like the biggest wick. So for example, Sui, right? If I Let's go to the weekly and yeah. Well, that's impressive, right? For example, Sui on the 1 week, right? This long ass wick. For me, that tells me that someone saw the value of it and then dumped it all the way down here, got the best possible price, and now is just letting it figure it out. Because look, you look at the most traded price in terms of volume, it's all the way up here, right? It's all the way up here, around 3.6. So think about how they got their order down here, pure manipulation. Even without leverage, they'd 5x their money. And if they put five $5 million, which is really small, right? I'm sure these guys put hundreds of millions of dollars into this order at 0.5, right? They'd be making like $2.5 billion just from Sui to move back to the highest traded volume. Do I think Sui goes to the astronomical price that everyone was thinking, like 70, $63? No, I don't think so. But I will say that I can see Sui, maybe not in the immediate future, not within the next quarter or like 4 months. I don't think it's gonna go to 60, but I can see it maybe going back to at least 3.6, maybe even making a new all-time high. Because for me, that VRVP we saw earlier around 3.6, if it refreshes right there, that tells me something, and that tells me that Sui will want to move back to the upside. But I guess they didn't get to fill their order completely, so they need to kill it a little bit. So Sui in short term, I do think it goes down a little bit more. I placed a long here because there was an FVG, so I'm in drawdown, but actually not by a lot. I'm only in like 20%, and that's with my 1% margin thing. And if we go down even further, I'm gonna add Sui to spot, right? BNB's dropping, Tao's dropping, and profits on the Tao short. Lots of opportunities to actually join in. That gave us like one, two, three chances to join in throughout the show. Uh, and then again, please remember that my take profit stop loss to BE is at 297. So you may want to send an alert there. You could also set it when it reaches 300, because you'd react with the dynamic reactor. But this looks like a bearish move if we close like this. But with that said, there's only 1 minute left on the show. So if there's any, as we call it here in the Philippines, pahabol, just let me know. Last minute questions, anything you want to know. I'm an open book. I'd be happy to answer them. Uh, I think we get again if we still in BRB a bull run 2028. If it survives, who knows? Next year, my long term port is def BTC Soul Suite. Yeah, I think that's smart. I think that's smart. Um, yeah, I think that's smart. Instead of Sui, maybe you could look at. I don't know if you like XRP, but you could look at XRP because it's a U.S. coin, right? I would bet on U.S. coins. So could be something, but also actually we should probably talk about this in trading chat event like after the show. But yeah, with that said, thank you guys for joining me. It's been an awesome show. So far our trade is in profit from this live, and we even got a break of structure right now. I don't know if it's gonna close like that, but so far it's pretty good. Thank you for joining me, and yeah, I really appreciate the company. I hope you guys have a wonderful day, evening, wherever you're at, and I'll see you guys next week. So once again, I am Langstrom, and always use a stop loss. Take care. See you guys.